Eleanor Hayes was 67 when she found herself living alone for the first time in over 4 decades. Her husband, Roger, had passed away the previous winter, and her children were grown and scattered across the country. The house felt cavernous, full of shadows and echoes. At first, she tried to fill the silence with routine: meals at the same time, morning walks, evening tea. But in the absence of companionship, small oversights slowly turned into dangerous habits. The first mistake she made was a common one: not securing her home properly. One night, she forgot to lock the back door after taking out the trash. She only realized it the next morning. Nothing had happened, but the thought of what could have unsettled her. A week later, her neighbor Margaret had her handbag stolen from her kitchen table while she was watering plants out front, her door left wide open in the summer heat. It was a wake-up call. Eleanor installed new locks and a smart doorbell system the next day. The second mistake was ignoring health signs. Eleanor had a dull ache in her chest one morning, but brushed it off as indigestion. It wasn't until her friend Lila insisted she go to urgent care that they discovered it had been a mild heart attack. "I just didn't want to make a fuss," she admitted later. But living alone meant she had to be her own advocate. No one else would notice the subtle signs. Third, skipping meals. With no one to cook for, Eleanor found herself nibbling on crackers or skipping dinner altogether. Margaret, who often joined her for afternoon tea, had done the same. One evening, she fainted in her garden, dehydrated and undernourished. From then on, they started a dinner club with 2 other women on the street, rotating who cooked each week. It wasn't just about food. It became their way to check in on each other. The fourth mistake was not having an emergency contact system. After Lila slipped in her bathtub and spent 2 hours on the floor before her son came to visit, Eleanor bought a medical alert pendant. She didn't love the idea of wearing it, but after seeing her friend's bruises, she knew pride had to take a back seat to safety. Fifth, neglecting routine maintenance. Eleanor once tripped over a loose floorboard in the hallway, falling hard on her shoulder. She hadn't realized the wood was starting to warp. Small things like checking smoke alarms, changing light bulbs, or trimming the overgrown hedge became necessary, not optional. She made a monthly checklist to stay on top of them. Sixth mistake, not updating legal documents. When Margaret had a minor stroke, her daughter discovered that her power of attorney paperwork hadn't been updated in 20 years. It took weeks of red tape before they could manage her medical decisions. Eleanor scheduled a meeting with a local attorney and updated her will, medical directives, and financial information, keeping a copy in a safe and giving one to her eldest son. Seventh, overestimating physical ability. Eleanor had always been independent, but trying to lift a box of holiday decorations from the attic proved too much. She fell halfway down the pull-down stairs, bruising her hip. From then on, she asked for help with anything requiring a ladder or heavy lifting. She even hired a handyman once a month for odd jobs. It wasn't weakness, it was wisdom. Eighth mistake, not staying socially connected. After Roger's death, Eleanor spent weeks without real conversation. Isolation crept in quietly, dressed as peaceful solitude. Her doctor noticed her energy was low and suggested a grief support group. There, she met people like Nora, a retired nurse who lived just 2 streets over. Weekly coffee dates turned into walks, then into a book club. The loneliness didn't vanish, but it softened. Ninth, keeping old prescriptions. Eleanor's medicine cabinet held bottles from years ago, expired antibiotics, unused painkillers from Roger's surgery. One night, she accidentally took an outdated sleeping pill when she couldn't rest. She woke up dizzy and disoriented. Her pharmacist later warned her how dangerous that could have been. Now she keeps only current, labeled prescriptions in a safe spot. 10th, using space heaters without caution. During one particularly cold January night, Eleanor left a small space heater running in her bedroom. It short-circuited and burned the edge of her curtain. Luckily, the smoke alarm worked. The fire didn't spread, but the fear did. She replaced the heater and made sure cords were new, outlets weren't overloaded, and nothing was left running overnight. 11th, keeping falls a secret. After her staircase slip, Eleanor didn't tell anyone, not her kids, not her doctor. She didn't want to worry them. But when Nora noticed her limping, the truth came out. "You have to tell someone," Nora said. "You're not being a burden, you're being responsible." That conversation shifted Eleanor's thinking. She created a list of emergency contacts on her fridge and promised to report every incident, no matter how small. 12th, and perhaps most dangerous, was thinking she had to do it all alone. Eleanor had always been proud of her independence, but slowly she realized that independence doesn't mean isolation. It means knowing when to lean on others. She found small ways to share her life again, inviting her neighbors for potluck Sundays, joining a local knitting group, asking for help at the pharmacy, letting her children install cameras and motion lights around her home, even if she thought it was excessive. Living alone over 60 wasn't just a matter of logistics. It was an emotional shift, a psychological adjustment. The house, once filled with Roger's voice and laughter, now echoed with creaks and whispers of memory. But Eleanor wasn't helpless. She was learning to live smarter. Each mistake she made taught her something. Not as a warning, but as a lesson in self-respect. Every door locked, every meal shared, every honest confession of, "I need help with this," became a thread in a safety net she wove around her life. One morning, as she sat on the porch watching a squirrel race up the oak tree, she sipped her tea and smiled. The quiet no longer frightened her. It had become hers. A calm earned not by ignoring danger, but by meeting it head-on with grace and grit. The mistakes hadn't broken her. They'd built her, stronger, wiser, and far more connected than she ever thought she'd be after 60. Eleanor Hayes wasn't just surviving. She was thriving, one safe, smart choice at a time.